Hello everyone and welcome to another Tempo Strategy Wild Hearthstone video. Wild is an exciting and dynamic format full of powerful cards from Hearthstone's history, but if you don't have all of these cards, the format can seem a little difficult to get into. One of the most common questions we hear is what's the best way to get into Wild? Fortunately, Hearthstone's eternal format is easier to get into than you think. Whether you're new to the game or you're an experienced standard player who dusted your Wild cards after they rotated, there are plenty of competitive Wild decks you can craft that are easier on the budget. And we're not just talking about off-meta decks either. Some of the format's strongest decks can be cheaply built without compromising your win rate. Let's take a look at 4 powerful yet accessible Wild decks that you can build for 4,000 dust or less, as well as ways to upgrade those decks if you have dust to spare. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Tempo Strategy YouTube channel and to turn notifications on to stay up to date with our Wild Hearthstone content. Now let's get started. First up, we have one of the most consistent decks in the format's history, Even Shaman. Built around the discounted hero power courtesy of Gen Greymane, Even Shaman uses above-curve minions and totem synergies to dominate the board and make short work of the opponent. Our featured list clocks in at 4,000 dust and is built around the explosive swarm potential of Splitting Axe and Thing from Below, with Totemic Might and Totemic Surge available to bolster the size of your totem army. The list is also packed with removal options like Devolve and Maelstrom Portal that can cut enemy boards down to size, as well as Galaka Crawler as a tech card to combat the popular Pirate Warrior Menace. This deck features most of the core cards you'll find in top legend Even Shaman builds, but you can improve upon the budget build with cards like Sea Giant, Vicina, and the Stormbringer to give the deck even more late game muscle. Even Shaman is an excellent general purpose ladder deck that's built to dominate other aggro decks, and even in rough matchups, it has the potential to overwhelm any opponent with the right draw. Next up, we have a relative newcomer to the Wild scene in Odd Demon Hunter. As the new class from Ashes of Outland, Demon Hunter quickly emerged as a dominating force in Wild, and even after several rounds of nerfs, Odd Demon Hunter remains one of the most popular decks in the format. Many of Demon Hunter's best cards come from its free basic and initiate sets, which also makes Demon Hunter one of the easiest classes to build on a budget, with our budget Odd Demon Hunter list clocking in at 3,100 dust. Odd Demon Hunter is also straightforward to play, focusing on powerhouse 1-drops like Battlefiend and Lowly Squire, with Beaming Sidekick and Guardian Og Merchant backing them up against enemy minions and removal, and Baku the Moon Eater's upgraded 1-mana hero power available to smash the enemy's board or face as necessary. The deck also uses Henchclan Thug and Satyr Overseer to build massive threats and bridge the gap into the late game, where Glavebound Adept and Priestess of Fury can finish the opponent off. This deck is ready to tackle the ladder out of the gate, but if you have the spare dust to take this deck to the next level, Lotheb and Leroy Jenkins are both staple legendaries in Wild that are well worth the investment, and the stable Demon Hunter legendary spell Metamorphosis is a worthy addition as well. Odd Demon Hunter sets a blistering pace even when built on a budget, so be sure to give it a try. So far we focused on budget aggro builds, but is it possible to build a strong late game deck in Wild without breaking the bank? The answer is a resounding yes. Jade Druid is a classic late game powerhouse that utilizes the best mana ramp, card draw, and defensive tools that Druid has to offer. Our budget list aims to ramp mana and buy time until it can cast free copies of Ultimate Infestation and Overflow thanks to Kael'thas Sunstrider, stock the deck full of Jade Idols, then overwhelm the board with an endless army of Jade Golems. This build also stifles aggro with an Oaken Summons package that can summon Archmage Varghulf along with a beefy taunt while gaining extra armor. Both Archmage Varghulf and Kael'thas Sunstrider were obtainable for free during their respective release events, so this budget Jade list can be built for as little as 3,340 dust. The deck's solid for ladder as is, but if you have extra dust to upgrade it, you'll want to start by adding the staple Druid hero card, Malfurion the Pestilent. You can also add Floop's Glorious Gloop for explosive mana generation, or Ysera Unleashed for even more late game staying power. If you want to take ramp style Druid even further, this list is packed with core cards that you'll see in decks like Togwaggle Druid and Malagos Druid, which makes this budget Jade list an excellent starting point for building your collection. Our last budget deck has been one of the most popular decks in Wild ever since its return in Saviors of Uldum, and it's among the most powerful and flexible decks in the entire format. That deck is none other than Secret Mage, and it has the tools to dominate the board against aggressive decks, burn down defensive decks, and disrupt combo decks at the same time. It's all thanks to Mage's deep secret package and synergies, with minions like Cabal Lackey and Mad Scientist getting them into play on the cheap, Arcane Flak Mage leveling the opponent's board each time you play a secret, Medivh's Valet and Cloud Prince dealing damage when you have secrets on board, and Cabal Crystal Runner establishing massive board presence for free after you play your secrets. secrets. The secrets themselves are heavily disruptive and difficult to play around, and even if you run out of gas, you have a Luneth to refill your hand so you can finish the opponent off. Secret Mage is powerful, but it's also naturally budget-friendly, with our featured list costing 3,440 dust while only being a card away from the full version of the deck you'd expect to see on our meta snapshot. If you have the dust to take the deck even further, you can invest in Stargazer Luna as a card draw option that's staple in multiple Mage decks, or try Lotheb, another staple that's strong against enemy combos and removal. All in all, the Wild format is easily accessible for players on a budget, so whether you're an experienced Standard player or you're new to the game altogether, it's easy to get your start in Hearthstone's Eternal format. We've shown off 4 competitive archetypes that can be built on a budget, and these decks are packed with staples to jumpstart your collection. Check out the deck codes in the video description below, and be sure to check out our Wild meta snapshots for more info on how to pilot these decks to Legend and beyond. If you enjoyed this spotlight, let us know in the comments which decks you'd like us to feature next, and as always, be sure to subscribe to the Tempo Strategy YouTube channel and to turn notifications on in order to stay current with our Wild Hearthstone content. Thanks for watching!